Okay, perfect. Sorry for the technical difficulties, people. I've had this computer for years, and so I just need to clean some stuff out. But today is February 5th, and our call tonight is going to be amazing. I'm going to share my screen so we can just go over leaderboard and do recognition real quick. So it says January, it's supposed to say February. I forgot to change that part. But for our February leaderboard, so far it's the 5th of the month and we've already changed 15 lives, which is amazing. So for those of you that are new coaches on the call, our life changers are people who have those points next to their names represent Success Club points, which are you receive 2 Success Club points for every Shakeology HD order you sign up someone with, or a challenge pack that you sign them up with. And so the points next to those people's names represent the lives that they've changed. So and it's 2 points for every person. So Kendall changed her first life this week, which is super exciting. Sydney is at Success Club 10 already, which is amazing. And then myself at Success Club 18. And then our recruiters already for the month, we have myself with 1, Sydney with 2, and Curtis with 3. If those of you that don't know, Curtis is my second business center. So you might see his name pop up a couple times. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce Andrea. Super excited for this call. Andrea is like, I just want to be her when I grow up. She's so fun. She is always super supportive. And she's also a boss. So she's a full-time mom of 3 boys, which is amazing. I'll just give you all the grace. And she is a full-time coach. She is a former teacher. She is the co-founder of Team Boom. So those of you who don't know what Team Boom is, we're the Desire Empire, which is under Team Elevate, and then Team Elevate is a part of Team Boom. And once you guys hit Emerald, you'll be in the Team Boom group, so you'll be able to interact with that team as well. She's a 6-star diamond and Success Club All-Star, so Success Club 31 months in a row, which is amazing. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and then I'm just going to hand it over to you, and I can't wait to learn from you.
Okay, cool. Well, thanks so much. You guys did an awesome job in January. So Kate invited me on this call to talk to you guys a little bit about how to build your business part-time, because this business is very, very part-time and a lot of people are working and busy. And so I wanted to share with you guys kind of how I got started in this business. And I was, working full-time. I had kids, so life was extremely busy. But I found simple ways to make it work. So what I'm going to do is I have a PowerPoint slide to share with you guys, and I'll just kind of share with you guys a little bit of my background and just kind of my story. So I am going to exit. Let me know if you can see this. I'm going to share my screen. Okay. All right, so I titled this just Side Hustle. So I want you guys to imagine in 2 to 3 years, if you are really consistent with this business and you start to treat it like a business, and either way, in 2 to 3 years, you're going to be 3 years older, you're going to be 3 years ahead. So you can either be in the same situation that you are right now, whatever that may be, whatever your goals are, whatever you want to accomplish, have those same things now, and they can all come true in 2 to 3 years. But you have to kind of think of this business as a 2 to 3 year business. It's not a get rich quick thing. It's not something that's just going to start happening within a month or 2 months. It does take time. And either way, regardless, the time is going to pass no matter what. So you can either do these little things consistently over time that really compound, and you can change, so much in your life in 2 to 3 years, or you can just decide to kind of let those excuses kind of get the best of you, and then in 2 or 3 years, you're in that same situation. So I I just wanted to share with you guys a little bit about, who I am. So this is a before and after photo that I have. We all start out as, I think I had a picture. Hold on. Oops. Well, they didn't share the pictures of my kids. I wanted to share a picture of my kids. But so anyways, I'm a mom of 3 boys, like she said. I'm just going to stop this share. I'm a mom of 3 boys. I started out, I have an education background, so I have no background whatsoever in health and fitness. When I first started coaching, I was working about 40 to 50 hours a week. I worked for, if anyone knows of like Scholastic News, Pearson Education. So I was a publisher's representative for them. I went into teaching and I just knew that right away that it wasn't really for me. So right out of college, I got a job with Scholastic News and I traveled a lot. So I was on the road quite a bit, 40 hours a week. I had my first son when I was 24 years old. And I had my second son when I was 26 years old. I did really, really well with the company. We bought a brand new house when I had my first son. I was working for them when I was 8 months pregnant with my second son. The company just put me on a conference call, kind of like this, like jump on this link. So we all got on the link and they were like, we're really sorry, Andrea, but your job's going to be terminated. And this was in November and he was due January 20th. And they were like, the day that you have your son is going to be your last day. And I was like, I remember looking down at my feet, which I like couldn't see. And I was like, what the heck am I going to do? Like, what am I going to do? Not only have a kid, I have a kid on the way. Now we're going to go from one income to, 2 incomes to 1 income. And the day that I had my son, which was January 20th, 2012, was my the best day of my life, but also it was like a worst day of my life because the HR was calling me like, okay, this is your last day. You're going to go on maternity leave, and then you're going to go on unemployment. And so it was kind of like a spiral. So instead of losing weight after my pregnancy, I actually gained another 40 pounds. And at this time, I was still a coach, but I did absolutely nothing with coaching. I signed up to be a coach in 2008, believe it or not. I did nothing with coaching. This is 4 years later. I knew the programs and the products, and I knew that they worked. So my coach, who happens to be my mom, so like 55, she's like, she knew that I was unemployed at the time. I was eating. I was kind of just like really stressed out. And I had to start interviewing again for another job. So my mom was like really, 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 really wanted me to do the coaching thing. Like she was so about the coaching thing, kept bringing it up. But I just wasn't in a place to really believe that it was a business. I just wasn't there yet in my mind. So, and this is before we even had a Team Boom, before there was Shake. I don't even know if Shakeology existed. There was no Facebook. There was no challenge packs. There was nothing. I don't even think there was a Coach Online office. So in 2012, in May, I took my before photo, like that horrible photo that you take that you're like, and I remember my mom taking it and I was like, oh my God, like just hide that, burn it. So, and that was like back when you take a picture and it like, you have to go to the store and like print it out, you're not like on your phone. So I actually had like a physical picture and I put it in my underwear drawer and I was like, that is like, I'm never pulling that out again. So then I did P90X and I committed to doing P90X. My mom actually gave me a bag of Shakeology because I was like, I'm not buying that, too expensive. And I told her I would do the programs and the products. And so I did P90X in Shakeology. I went to my first summit, which was like it totally eye-opening to like this business side of things. Like I was like, there I was like going through my own transformation. At the time when I went to summit, I had already lost 20 pounds. I was like, holy crap, these women are like earning 6-figure incomes. Like they're doing this part, this is what they're doing. And that was like a big eye opener for me, was going to summit. Like I was like, holy crap. So I left summit. I went back home. I got a job because my husband was like, you have to get, get a job. So I got a job. I actually was rehired by Scholastics. My boss like had to go through the whole interview process again. They rehired me, but in the back of my mind, I was like, I had this like bitter taste in my mouth about corporate America, because I was like, I built up something really great with my job and they just like let me go like that. So that's kind of my backstory of how my aha moment was like, wow, I can have this business and start to grow it. So in 2012, I started a free group on Facebook. This is when Facebook and somebody actually started to talk about running support groups. You guys know those? So I actually made a free support group on Facebook, and I was like, I was the type of person that was like, I'm not asking any of my friends. I'm not asking any of my, I don't want to be annoying. I don't want to like do this or that. So I just made it a free group, and I made an Instagram account, which is my Instagram account that I have right now, Annie Wallace. And I was like, I'm going to make this just for my story and to share my fitness and all that. Go to show, literally all my friends, all my family, everybody follows that account now. Like, it doesn't matter if you're going to start it for that. They're going to come find you because they're curious and they want to know what you're doing. So that's kind of how I got started. I just did it. And then I'm going to share with you guys a little bit. So I was back at work, working full time. And at the time, let me share my screen now. Hold on. Okay. So like I mentioned, I, had no idea what I was doing. I didn't treat it like a business. And I always used the excuses, I'm busy. That was always my excuse, was I'm busy. I don't have time. I work, I have kids. It was like the same thing that we probably tell ourselves all the time. But I am living proof that if you are a very, very busy person, that you can do this business and you can create an unbelievable income for yourself. You can create I look at my life now 5 years ago, and I'm gonna like start crying. But like 5 years ago, I was like rushing out the door, putting my kids in daycare, barely able to fit in my jeans, like on the road all the time. And now I woke up today and I was able to get my kids on the bus. I was able to sit down and this is what I do full time now, which is absolutely crazy, but it does take time to get there. So I want to share with you guys some simple steps on how to make that happen. So there are 4 things that I'm going to talk about. Number 1 is developing a reason. You have to have a reason every single day to get up and do this business, because this business is not going to grow itself. You could sit here and not do anything, and in 4 years, not much is going to happen other than the fact that your team is going to help you build part of your team. But unless you go out and do the simple, vital steps every single day to help grow your team with your team, you're not going to create that income and that you want for yourself or that team. So like you see Kate showing up and doing those vitals. The reason why Kate shows up and does those vitals is because her coach Ashley shows up and does those vitals. And the reason why Ashley shows up and does those vitals is because they have a deep why. They have a deep reason. They have goal, they set those goals, and your coach cannot want those goals for you. My mom wanted me to do this business for 4 years, and I wanted absolutely nothing to do with it. I even went on a free, all paid for cruise with her in 2010 and took my husband, and still I didn't have that reason. And I didn't have that why. So I didn't wake up and do it every single day. So it has to be, I always tell people, your why cannot be you're helping people, because that's what we do as coaches. You would not do this if you didn't want to help people. Your why has to be something super, super personal to you that's going to make you roll out of bed and get up out of bed in the morning. I cannot fly across the country and get Kate out of bed in the morning. It's not happening. So she has to have that own reason for herself to get up and do those vitals. So number 2 is see the vision. And in time equals success. You guys all know Ashley Feld Dyson. Ashley is actually 4 or 5 levels down from me. Her coaches sponsored. But I became really close with Ashley, and I brought her to this women's event a year ago, I think. I think it was a year ago, last March. And at the time, she really didn't have. She had a team, but not the big team that she has now. And I remember her saying to me, this is my team. It was all these bobbleheads drawn on a piece of paper. This is my team. And I'm like, she doesn't even know their names yet, but that was her vision, was like, these are the people that are going to be my challengers, that are going to turn into my coaches. So you have to have that vision for yourself in order to, create this thing. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about that. Eat Your Frogs. The best book I ever read for this business was called Eat Your Frog, I think, or Eat That Frog. Eat That Frog. It's like the simplest, easiest book in the entire world. The one thing I hate doing more than anything in the entire world is dishes, okay? I hate doing dishes so much. Like, who hates doing dishes? Everybody, right? I have a dishwasher, but I just hate doing dishes. And the more that I just didn't do the dishes, the more it would pile up in my sink, right? Like, it'd just be like dirty, and then I'd be like, oh, I don't want to do it. And then there'd be more. And then I'd be like, oh, I don't want to clean them. And there'd be more. Every single morning, I wake up and I eat my frog of cleaning the dishes, because then I know that, like, it's not going to, all that crap in your life is not going to pile up. So Eat That Frog was a huge, huge book for me. And I'm going to talk about those frogs that you have to eat every single day, even though you don't want to eat them, and move your business forward. Number 4 is treat it like a business. If you don't treat it like a business, then it's not going to become a business. When I was working full time and had little kids, I had a job. I had a business that I was working already. So like, this was actually, my husband was like, this is like, you're just talking to heads on the internet. Like, who are you talking to on Facebook? Like, put your phone away, like, who are these people? And I was like, this is my business. Even at the time, I was only like earning maybe like $20 a week, or like whatever the situation is. Like, I was still like, this is my business. And then eventually, as it turned into a business, he's like, you got to go work your business. Like, you definitely have to go work your business. Like, that's how men think. So if you have a spouse or somebody that's like, or usually it's your mom or somebody like close to you, or like your friends are going to be like, what are you doing? Like, what is this? Because they feel like they can say that to you. And that's kind of how my husband was. He was like, what are you doing? Like, who are you talking to? Why are you up at night? Like, but I was like, this is my business. I'm going to turn it into a business. And men are so simple. Men equal things to like money, right? So like, if I'm working all these hours, I'm not making it paycheck. He's like, what are you doing? But then once you turn it into a business, they're like, okay, wow, this is like, this is legit. And my husband funny fact, was actually my brother's first coach in 2007. And he quit. And so that was the P90X that we used, was actually his DVDs. So he believes in the programs and the products, but like the business side of it, it's difficult for people because they're so used to a 9-to-5 that they just don't get that you have to kind of put in the work in the beginning in order to make it happen. So this is just something like, measure your like specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound goals. So your goals are going to change each month, each year, right? So like in the beginning, when I was working 40 hours a week, like my goal to retire myself was like kind of like a 2 to 3 year, like 2 years off, right? But for me to pay for my shake, save some money for my, college, to pay off my student debt, maybe put some money aside for like groceries, like those were measurable, attainable goals when I first got started. Right. And then as you start to grow and you become like a diamond coach, and then, a 2-star, you open up a second, that's when you then you change those goals. So make it relevant to who you are. Your goals are not going to be the same as, maybe somebody else's goals, that just joined. And don't look at other people and think, I'm never going to get to where they are, because that is what I thought when I first started. I was like, I can't get to where they are. But I just realized that you have to put on your blinders and you have to focus on your own goals. So your why is what I talked about before. You have to have something that makes you get up out of bed in the morning. Like, whether it's going to be like, for me, I was just sick of being broke, tired. I had no time. I want to stay home with my kids. We could not travel because we just didn't have the extra means to travel. And so that was like a big thing for me, was like, I just don't want to put my kids in daycare anymore. I want to like stay home with them. And that was a really, really big why for me. Okay. So this is, I wish I could like zoom in on this. This is my first time using Canvas, if you believe it or not. Can you guys see this? Yeah. Okay. So this is actually a typical day for me when I work full time. I have 3 boys. I have an 8-year-old, a 6-year-old, and a 1-year-old. So like if you do have kids and you're stay-at-home mom, like holy crap, it's like insane. So my day is a little bit different now, but this is when I had 2 kids and I was working full time. So I read the book and the audio Miracle Morning. I swear to God, guys, if I did not wake up in the morning and get this done, I would not be where I am today at all. Like the most important, crucial times in my entire business was waking up in the morning. And I was not a morning person 5 years ago. I did not want to get up and do a workout. I had no routine. I didn't really listen to personal development. I thought it was so stupid. Like, why do I have to work on myself? I wasn't a big social media person. I used Facebook strictly because everyone had Facebook to build friends. So like all these things that you are like, getting up in the morning or posting on social media, those were things that I had to eat my frog every single day, right? So the 3 most important things, the biggest frogs that you have to eat every single morning, if you're extremely busy, no matter what, is you have to listen to personal development. It's like my number one thing. You have to control what's going on in between your mind. Because if you let other people say that's not a business, or you let other people say, why are you doing that workout? If you let people say those things to you, then you're going to start to think those things. So Audible was huge for me. I listened to a lot of Audible books. I learned this entire business on YouTube. Like, I'm not even kidding. My coach was 57 when she started, 57. So like when people say I'm too old to do this business, I'm like, my mom's like 62 now, so 61. So like, you're never too old to start this business. But my mom didn't even have Facebook. Like, she didn't even know how to like take a picture with a camera. So like everything I learned about social media, I learned on YouTube. I would follow coaches, right? Like I would follow Kate. Let's say I followed Kate and I would star her. And anytime she posts or anything that she did, I would like be like, okay, I'm going to do that too. I'm going to like recreate. I'm going to like figure out how to do that. I would go on YouTube and I would find people who were doing this business that were like kind of like me, like that were working full time. I have a YouTube channel. I think I have 300 videos on my YouTube channel. I'm not even kidding. You could listen to me all day long for a year and be like, I'm so sick of her. Like, I don't never want to listen to her again. So I learned a ton on YouTube. But anyways,
that person also.
I have to mute that person. Sorry. Oh, there we go. Okay. So anyways, if you do your Audible, so typical day for me, and this is still my day, is I wake up, I get dressed, I listen to some Audible as I'm like brushing my teeth or I'm drinking my Energize, and then I do my workout right away. So I do and back then it was like a half hour, right? Now if you're doing 80-day obsession, it's an hour, 45 minutes, so you kind of have to time it. And then I post on social media. I show up no matter what. Somebody once said to me, I posted, I think I worked out for like 30 minutes and I posted, and then they saw the picture like the next day and they're like, you were working out like all day. I'm like, okay, I was not working out all day. It was like one picture and it was like a 25-minute workout. But people see you and they see you showing up. And the biggest thing you have to do in this business is you have to show up. Because when you show up, those people are going to see that and they're going to want to join your challenge group or your accountability group. So you have to show up no matter what. I started Instagram. I didn't even know how to use Instagram. I just like would post, like if you scroll all the way back like 5 years ago, it's like I had no hashtags. I don't even think I wrote anything. I just had like a picture of a beet and like a salad. And I was like, I'm showing up, like whatever. Like you're just going to learn as you go. But I was still showing up every single day. And the thing about social media is that you're not always going to get praised because you showed up, right? Like now that you have a community, they're going to, be like, hey, good job, because you guys are supporting. But a lot of times you have to get to the point where, I didn't put it in here. Oh, you're like, I said, if you don't show up, like what happens when your kids go to school and they don't show up? Your nurse calls you and they're like, where's your kids? Like that's where you have to get to the point where you're just being consistent. And it doesn't have to be, always working out, right? Like, let's say you just started and you don't really use Facebook that much, then maybe show up with your workouts like 2 times a week, right? But then show up with like a meal plan or like a healthy recipe that you're doing. And you don't have to be like this perfect person, right? Like you could just, today would be like, wow, you know, I totally fell into the chicken wing dip from yesterday's Super Bowl, right? But like, I'm going to get up and do my workout today. So that's relatable. That's what people want to know, that you're a real person. So, and then I would kind of turn off social media, turn off my phone, get my kids ready, bring them to daycare, go to work. Now, I usually typically work like 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. I was in the car a lot driving. But I did always have like a break, like some sort of a break, right? Like where I could maybe post what I was drinking my shake during that day, or I could find something that was kind of funny and post it on Instagram, or I could, you know, maybe I saw one of my friends post a transformation and I posted that during the day. And again, this, if you were to catch like a training from me, like maybe like a year ago, it'd be like post 3 to 4 times on social media, right? Like a day. But now if you guys have the Instagram training that Team Boom just did, now it's more like post once a day on your news feed on Instagram, maybe like every other day, and then do more stories. So like, I wish I had the stories feature when I was, you know, doing this, working full time, because that's like, it takes like 10 seconds to do a story, right? Like, you know, and you can even if you're super, super busy, you can take a picture of your pre-workout, your post-workout, your workout. Maybe you videoed it before, get ready, get the kids where they need to go. And then you can actually save it on your phone and upload it like an hour later. Like it doesn't matter when you're posting it, you're just still showing up. And now with Instagram, it doesn't, in the past, it used to be like show up at this time, and this time. But now it's like on Instagram, it like doesn't matter. It's like, it doesn't matter when you show up. You just take the picture and you post it. And then on your stories, it disappears in 24 hours. But still, people are seeing, you know, you show up. So that's a big thing. And then, you know, I did kids, dinner, family. So the way that my night times work, because a lot of people work, you know, full-time jobs. And so I sat my husband down and I was like, listen, you know you're working and I'm working, we have kids, and you're like, who are you talking to? I'm like, but I really want to grow this business. So on Mondays, back then it was Mondays and Wednesday nights. Now it's like more like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. But I was like, Monday and Wednesday from like 8 to 10, I'm going to be doing like a team call like this, or I'm going to be doing a coach training. And he was totally cool with it. He was like, okay, fine. Like, you just have to be open with your spouse about what your day typically looks like, because then they'll understand. They're not going to, you know, because a lot of times they just want to hang out with you, or they're just curious what you're doing. And if you leave them out of the loop, then they're going to be, you know, kind of like, what are you doing? You know, so just, you can see how I kind of like blocked out my family time. Right. And then like everyone's in bed right now. It's 9:30 where I am, but you know, my husband's watching like some show. So I'm on the call, and that's kind of what I've done for the past like 3-4 years. Right. So does anyone have any questions about like your day? Or I can hold off until, if you want to put them in the chat, I can hold off till the end too. That's easier. But this is what a typical day looks for me. Like I said, I was not active for 4 years. And in 2013, January 20th, 2013, I was like, I am all in with this business. If it's hell or high water, I am not like, I don't care what life throws at me. I'm going to show up. I'm going to show up every single day. Even if it's only 5 minutes, I'm going to show up. And that has literally, I've showed up every single day for the past, since 2013. Even if it was like 5 minutes. I just had a double hernia surgery 8 weeks ago, and it was like the most painful thing I've ever gone through in my entire life. And I literally would just like post a story of like me, like watching like This Is Us with my shake, or like, you know, like I still showed up. Even though, and I shared that journey and that story because that I didn't want to disappear. I wanted to just tell people like, this is what's going on, you know? So, always show up, always be you. And then just create a schedule that's going to work for you. Okay, so pick 2 social media platforms, show up every single day as if you're the school nurse would ask, where are you? Why didn't you show up? So 2 spots that I decided to grow my business were Instagram. Obviously, I feel like when I first started this business, Instagram was where I built my business actually in 2013, 2014. And then it went more towards Facebook. And now it's back to Instagram. So you always have to kind of be adapting to where people are kind of going. But Instagram, searching different hashtags is where I found a lot of my team. And again, things that were relate to who you are. You want to look for those people on those hashtags. Facebook profile. So I use Facebook for our challenge groups, our accountability groups. So I, always show up on my Facebook because you just never know who's watching, your old friends. I have a ton of girls that was like a mutual friend, but I didn't really know from college who I was randomly Facebook friends with. You guys are probably literally Mary Beth, Darling, Anne Marie Vichard, so many people that I was not friends with them, but we were friends on Facebook and they kept seeing my posts. So, you're going to find people through that way. So those are 2 spots to grow your business, finding new challengers. And then 2 spots that you should be to grow your team is your coach group. I always think the people who are in the coach group are the most fun, and they're I love when people are posting in there and helping each other out. And that's just a place that you should just be poking your head in every single day. Getting on team calls really, really helps because, it can kind of be like a lonely business sometimes. You're kind of sometimes I'm in my house all day, or you're, out working and then your team's, all spread across the, United States. So getting on team calls really, really helps because it just kind of reconnects everybody. And then obviously your challenge groups, that's really where you're going to grow your strongest coaches is your challenge groups, finding those challengers. Let's see. So always be a student, willing to adapt. I'm literally every single day learning something new. I was totally Facebook before, and now it's get on these stories. And I'm not ashamed. I'm not afraid to be I literally asked Ashley Feldice the other day, I'm what the heck are you doing? How are you helping all these people? And she was this is what I'm doing. And I'm okay, awesome. I'm going to do that too. I'm not trying to recreate the wheel here. Just do what is working for other people, but make it your own, personality. So, always be a challenger. I'm if you're doing a program and you're following it, or if my coaches are falling off, I'm always get in a group, pick a challenge group, start on a Monday, and then go from there. Because you're not possibly going to want to share and grow your team if you're not doing your workout and you're not, being a part of the vitals, which is honestly the most important thing is working on you as a person every single day. And that's going to make you want to go out and be girl, I just kicked booty workout, But if you didn't do it, you're you're not going to invite that many people. This business is super, super, super simple. You want to find 5 leaders like you and teach them what to do. So that's it. It's very simple. 5 people. It's the magic number is 5. And they don't even have to be your personally sponsored coaches. You do want you're going to, sponsor a lot of different personally sponsored. People are going to cancel on you. You're going to think somebody's going to go all in and then they don't go. That's just the way it goes. So don't think that it's not, that when I first reached Diamond, the first time ever, 9 of my coaches quit on me in 2 weeks and I completely dropped Diamond. And you would think that was back in 2012. And I was oh my God, I suck. I'm just not going to do this anymore. But really, I was you know what? I'm going to keep going. I'm going to find the people that want to be on my team. I'm not going to stop regardless. I'm just never going to stop. This is my lifestyle. This is, I've made it part of my life. And I'm going to find those people that want to do it with me. And the thing that always gets me every single day is what if I stopped? What if I said no to this business? Or what if I just stopped being a coach? I would have never have met Ashley Fell Dyson, who would have never met Kate, who Kate would have never invited you guys to this, group. You guys probably wouldn't have invited your challengers to your groups. Like if you keep going, it's going to keep going too. And so you always have to kind of think of that in the back of your mind. Okay. So when life gets crazy, I'm like, okay, if I can eat my frogs and I can call it a day, because sometimes I'm like, I only have like a half hour and I'm like, all right, I just have to show up, right? So show up with the vitals, which is your workout, personal development, getting your coach groups, like the 4 vitals that we talk about all the time. And I know this is kind of like redundant, but I can't even tell you like the 4 vitals. They're just like, they're there for a reason because they work. My goal is always to help 2 or 3 people in your challenge groups a month. So like 2 to 3 challengers a month, like hitting Success Club, 5 or 10 every single month has always been a goal of mine. That's probably why you saw like I was 35 months and there has been a couple of like months before that I didn't hit it. And it was only simply because I just wasn't inviting. I always have to be inviting. Whatever you guys do right now, right? So whatever you're doing in the month of February, inviting like the next couple of weeks, that's going to set up your month for March. It's like, it's like a month ahead, right? So like whoever I'm talking to on Instagram and inviting and becoming friends with, that inviting is going to be people that are going to join me in like March, April, May, right? Like I've had girls that I'm inviting right now in February and they don't join me until like July. Like think about how long it took you to follow your coach to figure out like, do I want to do this, to then saying no, so don't think that you're going to get these people right away. It really is a relationship business. Even if somebody says no to me now, like I'm going to be like, I'm going to get you one day, girl. Like, I'm just going to get you. Like, you're just going to join me. But it takes time. You can't like make that person say yes. And referrals are huge. Like I actually just got 2 girls from referrals from my cousin who was doing it, who like found them, who then said that you should ask her. So like always ask your challengers, like, talk about that. So, obviously you want your challengers to be coaches. So like if your challenger is like, I have 5 girls, I'm like, girl, like, why don't you become a coach and you take that commission? Because otherwise, like, I'm just stealing like $300 from you, like that's kind of how I actually have gotten like a lot of coaches. Like they are like, oh my gosh, I told Sally and Susie. And I'm like, why don't you become a coach and you sign up Sally and Susie, So planting those seeds for those challengers that join you is important. Is just like, being like, if they're showing up in the group and they're doing exactly what you're doing, like tell them like, wow, you would be an awesome coach. Like you're literally doing exactly what I'm doing. The only difference is you're not getting paid for it. That's it. Like you're showing up in the challenge group, you're drinking the shake, you're posting on, you're doing all these things. The only difference is that you're not getting paid for it. So let's get you going, So sometimes you just need to tell the people because they don't know that they'd be a good coach, right? And we want everyone to be like your team, right? Find 5 lifetime leaders, and help build them. So one of the biggest things that like I focus on in this business is building leaders within my downline. Like reaching out, like even though, Kate's not my personally sponsored coach and she's, on Ashley's team, she's still like in my team. So like, I want to help her with these team calls, like realizing that it's not just your personally sponsored coaches, that they help your personally sponsored coaches help you rank advance. But what helps you create like a team volume in your team is everybody in your team. And that's the second way to earn. So like, I'm not going to get into that, but that's really the fun part for me is helping create leaders within your team. So anyways, show up with the vitals, help 2 to 3 people a month. And then out of those 2 to 3 people a month, you're going to find 5 people that want to do this business. So if you're helping like 2 to 3 people a month for the year, that's going to turn into a bunch of people. And then out of those people, you're going to find those 5 people that want to really run with the business and and do the same things that you want to do with it. All right, that's all I have. That's it. That's my story. Do you want to, I can say for like some questions.
Sorry, my computer died. Can you hear me?
Oh, that's okay. It happens to me all the time. Like right before I started this, I was like, my computer's going to die. I was just going to say I finished. And if anyone has questions.
Yeah. I wrote a couple down too. Let me just like re-situate myself. If anyone has any questions, you can like unmute yourself and ask. Okay, so for me, like basically everything you said was like it really hit home for me. Especially like a couple things that I just wanted to like ask you more about or just talk about because I know some people are thinking the same thing. Mm-hmm. So I saw someone posted, I think it was Kendall, like she's worried about being annoying with her posts, and that was something that like made it hard for me to decide to be a coach because for those of you that don't know, like it literally took Ashley and Lauren 8 months to convince me to be a coach, and that included time where I literally quit doing my workouts and quit drinking Shakeology, like, but they kept telling me like you need to do this and so like that. So it took me 8 months, and like one of my big things when I was afraid of being annoying and I was afraid of like people being judgmental, but then like I guess for me I just kind of realized like if they're annoyed with me bettering myself and like working on myself, then they're not my tribe anyways.
Yeah, exactly.
That's response to it, but I don't like, what would your response be to that?
No, I definitely agree because when I was a brand new coach, I was like nervous and afraid, like what do people think, blah, blah, blah. But I think you just get to a point with, especially when you're doing your personal development and you're just feeling like so good yourself and your team, that it's like if somebody's going to make fun of you for getting healthy and working out and being better for yourself, then maybe they're not like your tribe, like you said. It's not like you're like doing heroin or like something like horrible. You know what I mean? Like you're literally working out and helping other people. Like how is that so bad? Right. And honestly, like I said, like you doing your personal development really starts to help realize if people do say negative things to you, why they say them. Like they're just a lot of times if somebody honestly, like in my whole thing, I've maybe had like a handful of people that said something like totally obnoxious, but really it has to do with themselves. They're not happy. They want to put you down in order to bring themselves up. So just realizing that, just realizing that is like, it has more to do with that person if they ever do say something to you, and they're not your tribe if they're going to try to bring you down, So I wouldn't. And are you going to allow like one or two people? Because usually what happens is when you're posting, it's like one or two people that you're thinking about, like one or two friends that you think are going to like make a snide remark. And honestly, like screw them. Like who cares? Like they're probably going to join you in the end or be like, why didn't I, like, wow, she's like super, super happy. Like if somebody's annoyed that you're super, super happy, then they're not supposed to be in your circle anyways.
Yeah. That's something that I've had to like battle myself with is that exact thing is like just really not caring what people think because you're doing something that's good for you. And if you enjoy it, then just ignore them. And like what Lauren just said, like block them if it's really that bad. Like if you don't need negative people in your life, like we all have negative people, like get rid of them.
Exactly. Yep. And I love the book, You Are a Badass. Like that was a good one for that. Or like Mastering Your Mean Girl. Yeah, that's a good one. Yep. Or just like kill them with kindness. Just be like, go on their page and be like, oh my God, you look so good. Like then they're just going to be like, oh, I feel bad. Like, So.
Yeah. And then another thing that I wrote down was when you talked about like when you're inviting this month, like these are going to be the challengers that you get in a couple months. And I actually went live on my team page about that a couple days ago because almost probably 60%, no, probably more than that, probably like 90% of the challengers I've signed up this month already were people I've already invited like in December and January.
Yeah. Yep.
That's why I'm at Success Club 18 because now those people are finally ready to jump in.
Yeah. And I think, when people look at like the leadership boards and they're like, how do they have that many people? It's not from you just getting them that week. It's from you being consistent over a period of time, and that compounds over time. So like whatever you did in January, like a lot of times people don't do much in December, and then they're like, it's hard. January is a harder month for them. So just realizing like whatever you do right now is going to set you up for the months to come is a huge thing, especially in the summer months because it's a little bit slower in the summer. I always think like if I don't invite right now in the summer, then it's going to be harder for me, to find those challengers in the fall. So that's a good mindset too, because and you could probably look at your 18 Success Club points and be like, this person was from 2 months ago. This person was from 3 months ago. This person was from, maybe like 30 days ago. But rarely is it that they like find you that day and they join you.
Yeah, that's what, I've only been a coach for 2 months. And so like, it's interesting to see that because I hadn't really experienced that yet. And then I was like, oh my gosh, all these people are people I've already talked to.
Yeah.
And then another thing that really hit home for me was the 5-5 leaders like you. And like you're looking for your lifers. And like Ashley talks about this all the time, is like you're looking for like the other Ashleys or the other Kates or the other Sydneys or whatever. And she made a point too that like Ashley made a point that in 2015 she only has 2 coaches left that signed up with her in 2015. Like
right.
Everybody else quit. And I had my first coach quit on me today, and I was like, oh my gosh, like what happened? Like what did I do? Like I've been thinking about it all day long, and like she hit Emerald yesterday and then quit today. And so I'm like, what happened? Like what? Like did I do something wrong? But then I just am reminded like some people just don't have the vision that you have, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna find other people that do have that vision, and
exactly.
do want to go all in, but it just takes time.
Yes, it does take time, and I'll give you guys like a good perspective. Like I don't have a ton of personally sponsored coaches. I mean, I've been doing this for like 6-7 years, and I have like 40. I mean, like I have like 45 active coaches, which is like if you break it down, that's like 1 coach a month. But in my team, my entire downline, I have almost 3,000 coaches. And that's from finding and how like the leaders within my business, like Brooke Reed and Ashley Feldison. Like Ashley Feldison alone brought in like so many, like 1,000 coaches probably, right? So you're gonna sponsor, like when I first started, I sponsored like my husband and my cousin to get to Emerald because they were like, get to Emerald. I'm like, okay. So I sponsored my husband, which by the way, my husband was the first person I sponsored on my week leg. You have to sponsor your spouse on your week leg because his income. He's like a second me basically. So that was one of the, like, I didn't really know what I was doing when I first started, and somebody said to do that, and I did it, and I'm like, thank God I did that. But anyways, yeah, you're personally, you're going to sponsor people, and they're going to leave, but they might bring in somebody that's like Ashley Feldison's coach actually quit. Like she literally quit. Like, and so Ashley became Shauna's coach. So you're going to have that happen. People are going to leave, but then you're going to find those, 5 leaders that are going to really build your business. So,
and that's a good reminder, like, especially like for me, that one really hit home, especially today. So when you said that, I was like,
yeah. And this business is like, for me, it was really a business that I learned as things happened. It wasn't like you go to college and you get a 4-year degree and you're a teacher and then you start teaching, right? In coaching, it's like you can start right away and in 4 years create this great income. But when everything makes sense once it happens, like it makes sense when you sell your first challenge pack. It makes sense when you join a challenge group, right? Like in the beginning, you're like, what's a challenge group? But once you join one, then you know. And then when you hit Emerald, it makes sense. When you hit Diamond. So it's like a learn as you go sort of thing. It's more action oriented than anything, I think.
Yeah. And then I think Sydney just asked, like, why do you think coaches quit? Like, why do you think people quit just unmotivated? Do you want to?
It's for different reasons. I mean, everyone's like, different. A big part of it that helped me really keep and build a team was making sure that they felt a part of a team right away. And making sure that they were in the coach group or like pairing them up with other people that were, maybe started coaching at the same time as them. But I mean, for every 5 coaches that I put in Coach Basics or like they sign as a coach, like I'm going to get like 1 or 2 people that just quit on me. Like it has nothing to do with your own goals. Like if they're not going to, you have to remember that they are their own boss. So like you are all your own boss. So if you really want to do this business, then you have all the tools at your fingertips. Our team has like so many resources. It's almost like overwhelming at times. So you have all the tools at your fingertips, but you have to be the one to put them into action. So, that's just depends on, maybe they're not motivated to make it happen. Maybe they don't have their why. Maybe they didn't fully go through a challenge group yet. There's so many different reasons why, but ultimately it has nothing to do with you. It's just them, I guess. Like it's their decision. So that makes sense.
I agree with that. I also like one big thing for me is like, I don't remember where I heard it. I think I read it in the 5-second rule, like the motivation doesn't exist. And so like, I'm so on that kick right now is that like motivation is just a made up word to like describe your feelings. But like, if you really want to get stuff done, it's like discipline and whatever. And I talk about that all the time. And so,
I totally agree. So I actually have this, allow me. Hey everyone, share this video with you. This is actually I had a 2-week-old and a 8-year-old and a 7-year-old. And I made this video and it actually talks exactly about that. Let me play it for you guys.
Hey everyone, so I'm doing a quick tip. I was doing these before I was pregnant and now I'm obviously not pregnant anymore. So I wanted to talk a little bit about time. I think one of the biggest things that people struggle with in this business is time. They have a lot of excuses that they don't have time to work their business. And I think that the most important thing that everyone needs to know is that this is your own business, so you have to work around the time that you have. I have a 7-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 2-week-old. And the last thing I really want to do is probably wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning to do my business. But honestly, if I didn't sacrifice the time and got up at 6 a.m., just 7 for the past 3 years, I probably wouldn't have the business that I have today. So this morning at 6 o'clock when my alarm went off, I usually tell myself that honestly, this is the only time that I will probably have to work my business. So I have the self-discipline to get myself up because I realize that if I want all of those things in my life, like more time and be able to stay with my kids and maybe one day put a shirt on right because it's inside out, that I have to get up and sacrifice that instant gratification that maybe I want to sleep like 15 minutes more and just get done what I know I need to do. So a lot of people obviously are not going to be working their best at 6 a.m., right? But that's like when my mind is the best.
Anyway, so that just talks a little bit about that, is that it's not like it's not like people want to, it's not like I've always wanted to wake up every morning and work my business. Like there's definitely days that you don't want to do it, but you just have to like push through that. It's like your workout. Like you don't want to do it, but when it's done, you're like, okay, I'm glad I did that. Right. So there is no motivation. It's like what'd you say? It was no self-discipline. What'd you say? Self-discipline?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
it's just it's more just like doing it anyways, like eating those frogs anyways. Like it's not always going to be exciting to do. Like the least thing I like to do is invites, but I know that that's like what's going to move my business forward, you know?
Yeah, I totally agree. Well, does anyone else have any questions? I know it's late over on the East Coast.
I have a question.
Okay.
Just trying to get people to sign up and pay for everything. Like I had people ask me if it was free. Really? Not free.
Yeah, I mean, so when I first started, I did a free group, which really, really helped me because I have the same thing. Like they're like, what do you mean I have to pay for it? Like, so what I did was I just created a free group and then I would get them in my free group and then I would sort of like build a relationship with them. Or honestly, sometimes I just put people in my challenge groups to let them like see like what we're doing and like how it really does help and the support that, you know, like, and then I'm like, okay, do you see what we're doing? Like, does this, you know, give them a little taste of like how the support groups work. And then be like, okay, this is what the, you know, breakdown of the deal is. And I think Ashley Feld Dyson sent me something. It was like really good. I mean, if you think about it, it's like $160 for like your gym membership. I mean, you kind of have to like break it down for people. It's like 37 cents a day to literally have a workout at your fingertips. I mean, some people pay $200 to go to the gym, to have a gym membership that they never go to. So I think just being like saying like one of the things that really helped me was say, I know how you feel. I felt the same way, but this is what I found. When they talk about the price objection, has really, really helped me feel, felt, found.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think the same thing when I have people say like, oh, that's a lot, or they like have the price objection. I always remind them that it's for a year. Like I'm like the 160 or the 170 or whatever challenge pack you're selling, like that's your membership for your workouts for an entire year, which is way cheaper than any gym you're ever gonna find, unless like I ran into one girl when I said that, and she's like, actually, my gym's free through my insurance. And I was like, oh, look at you.
Yeah, or like sometimes like a girl on Instagram today was like, you know, oh, that's a lot. And so what I did was I literally pulled up my Beachbody On Demand on my computer and I just did a story. I like sent her privately. I was like, here's your gym. Here's all the workouts. Like you literally cannot go through all of these. You're going to be like 95 by the time you finish all of these workouts. Like you're never going to get bored. It's like everything. And she was like, oh my God. Like she was like overwhelmed by how much it was, like how much like was included in it. So just showing like the value of it, like actually doing a video of bringing them through the meal plans and all the different programs that they get and like your support group and like giving them little clips kind of shows them like the value of what it is, you know? And if they still don't want to invest in that, then put them in the free group or put them in that group and then check in with them in a month, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, does anyone else have any other questions? Going once, going twice. Okay, then we're gonna take a selfie. So everyone smile. Taylor, turn on your video so we can see your face. And I'm gonna stop my iPhone.
I can't turn on my video because I'm sitting in the bathtub right now listening to
Okay, fine, Taylor.
Your picture actually looks like you're like in the call though.
It does. Okay. Everyone smile. Awesome. Super excited. Thank you so much.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks so much for having me on your call.
I loved it. Thank you for recording it too. Since
I think I have to download it and put it on my YouTube, I guess, or I can download it and you send it to you and you can.
Yeah, whatever. It's fine. Anyway. But thank you so much. And I'm just super excited for everyone. This is awesome.
It was really nice to meet you guys.
All right, everybody. Have a great night. Love you all.
Bye.
Bye.